Today on the Bigfoot Researchers Journal, we continue our look at the Bigfoot of Johnathan Dickenson State Park.
Here's one that's live, that's knocked over. Check this out, guys. It's knocked over in the top of that one, and you can see all the green branches still on the damn thing. So that's a brand new knockdown, and it comes down all the way. You can see it there. Comes down all the way, and there's the base of it right there. Holy mackerel. Good eye, Mel. Now let's look right here underneath.
So we think they intentionally will push these trees over in strategic locations if they need to, and we've given them a reason to do that. From the top of that, if you ran up that tree, you can see my truck. Sometimes we do approach the area and try to catch them up close. It had been a while since I'd been back there, so I decided to take a look. And I heard the creatures moving off in two different directions. They typically like to keep that 60 to 70 yards of a buffer in between you and them. So studying the creatures can get frustrating sometimes. There could be very long gaps in between encounters and interactions, and then suddenly they're there. Yeah, so today we're going to look at this enormous thing, and there's some enormous things hanging out together watching Melanie and I as we film, and you can see there's stuff moving there. But as we go through this creature, this enormous thing is there. This is a whole head, and you can see there's a strange creature next to it. I mean, let's crop in and let's take a look at, see what kind of monsters we're dealing with here in the creek. And we can see weird stuff. I don't know what it is, but it appears to be something with him. But the creature we're looking at here, this big boy right here, it's nuts. When we get in close and you see the frames of this thing, it's enormous. Look at this. So the eyes are going to be here, and the nose is real wide. Watch this. Now we're getting a little bit of a nostril, and sometimes they have a split when they flare. Oh, come on, baby. Oh, what's that? That's our Bigfoot right there. There he is. That's the bridge of his nose. You can see nostril. This is the bone structure here. We've got the mouth down here, the upper lip, but we've got this huge wide nose on the side there. And he's even moving his mouth. You can see his lips right here. There he is. There's his whole face. It's one of these hominoids that we've been studying. Oh, he's kind of moving his eyelid there a little bit. Interesting. But the reality is we're not getting a complete look at him because the diffusion is distorting our perspective. We can tell the bone structures, but he has creatures with him. And so when we really look at this, these are huge things. And so let's keep looking at frames here, and that's just a great frame. You can get a real good idea of what one of these Florida Sasquatch, the big ones, look like. This is at this spot right in here, you're somewhere in the neighborhood of 11.5 to 12 feet. We've already measured this branch. It's right around 10 feet. Here's the Sasquatch, so he could be 11 feet tall, something like that. He's in a depression, maybe 12 feet. But let's look at the frames that we have here. We've got that really great still frame, and let's take it through. And it still needs to be broke down, but you can see flaring nostrils. That's when I talk about how the nostrils sometimes can look like eyes or brow ridges from another creature, and their bone structure is such that it just catches light on the highlights. But we're starting to see him really good here, and especially the nose. You can see where he flares the nose. Let's cut that right there and bring this in. You can see on the sides they're flared out, and this is nostril. We got the brow ridge up here. Watch right there. I'm going to move this over a little bit. And this frame by frame stuff takes time because it has to render a little bit. You can see this other creature's nostrils here, and this is this pursed lips. As we look at these creatures, you're going to be able to see. I mean, what I have back in here with him, it's cool. You can tell he's an acromaton, but getting into these frames that are a little bit further back, we got the nose is just picking up light from so many different angles and making it so hard to tell. It's absolutely incredible. It's like a case study for an acromaton, this footage. Probably the hardest aspect of what we do is going in, and we typically try to give the respect of their area to them, and I suggest the same thing. The hiking that we've done has been very superficial with regard to any interaction with their habitat. We survey, that's it. I'm there to document. I observe things and I document. I take a look, right? When you start to pay attention, you get curious about what's going on, because you're trying to explain it. You'll invariably attract these creatures in. Your presence will attract their curiosity. And when we found out that that's what was going on, it just became automatic. Enjoy beautiful Johnathan Dickenson State Park. Stay on the marked trails and always away from dense, dark, tree-lined areas. A public safety message from your friends at Crypto Reality. The study took an interesting turn when we realized the creatures were in Johnathan Dickenson State Park. I was astounded. I've been going there my entire life. I've hiked all of the original log cuts, and the creatures have been reported in there for as long as I've lived here in South Florida. And typically I heard about these enormous gray creatures. We never heard of anything over 8 feet. These creatures in here that we're seeing now, you can see how with the highlight on it we can make out what's there, but this retransmission of the light that we really have difficulty detecting is what's throwing everybody off. And as we go over these frames, you put the entire picture of this creature's face together. Getting in on it and getting close-up footage has been the difficulty in the study. The creatures, regardless of their size, exhibit an indifference that is to the extent that most people wouldn't even know this gigantic hominoid and his friends were watching them. It took years to begin to understand and recognize when the creatures were present, because they rely so heavily on the diffusive aspects of their environment, right? So the diffusion that exists in these canopies where bushes are being well lit and exhibiting a glow that we can't see. The family groups that we've been documenting in Johnathan Dickenson State Park, and we have tracks that correlate to individuals like the one you just saw there. It was approximately 7 feet tall. We're looking at a conclusive documentation here. Collecting hair samples, DNA samples of the creatures here in South Florida has been a regular occurrence over this last decade. We have multiple hair samples, and the important thing is we know where to get hair samples. We took the time to discover what the creatures eat in these environments. And in South Florida, studying the nature of the canopies that exist in the surrounding areas, discovering that oaks, live oak hammocks with acorns, are an excellent food source, nutrition source for the Sasquatch creatures. There appears to be several different types of these creatures. This particular type I've seen in several different areas, though if the bushes were removed, I suspect we would see several other creatures and they would look drastically different than our friend that our breakdown is focused on here. The one on his left, you can see the nostrils on it and the mouth. These creatures are passive, and they have not shown any aggression to us in Johnathan Dickenson State Park. The hiking to this date for my wife has been safe. We encountered more danger from park officials who accidentally set fire to the forest we were in, not realizing that we were still on the hiking trail, than we have in 5 years of studying the creatures in Johnathan Dickenson State Park.
If you guys could see the height of this ridge right here, this is absolutely incredible. This is a buildup. That's my finger on both sides, and it runs all the way across the track. This is incredible, man. This is what a mid-tarsal ridge looks like. And this is such a bad example